Good afternoon, prosperous Puducherry, the future of India, the young people here from the college and their mentors with the faculties. This session especially is a complimentary session to the policymakers session. If you look at India today, in the month of June 2014, our Honorable Prime Minister, after taking over the government, he immediately constituted a ministry, the Ministry for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. I was sure at that point of time that the Prime Minister will come out with the startup policy. But, however, before even he asked to bring the startup policy, there were pressing problems in the country which he needed to rectify. One such problem was a manufacturing, and accordingly, he brought in Make in India. And two, the greatest capital of this country is the youth population. Today, the youth population in India is about 60%. When I say youth population, the age of the youth population is from 25 years to 35 years. And this youth population is considered to be a capital. It will become a liability if there is no empowerment. So keeping in this mind, Prime Minister brought the Skill India project. As told by the Honorable Minister for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Mr. Raju Pratap Rudy, in the CII meeting, today there are a lot of engineers, but no electrician. Today there are a lot of engineers, but no gardeners. Today there are a lot of engineers, but no drivers. Today there are a lot of engineers, but no teachers who are the creators of the future of India. Now to rectify this problem, so how do we ensure that education becomes a productivity in the country? In the past 60 years, the government have been looking at only providing education, which is more like a theory, but never there was a stress on the skill development. And this government, after taking over the power, came into the power, they came out with the Skill India policy. They said, along with the education, skill also need to be provided. And third is the Digital India. The Digital India campaign is most important campaign of the government, because today if you look at out of 130 crore population in India, only 30% of the population is connected to digital world. Now today the economies are not, and the countries are maybe divided in the geographical means, but however today it is either a digital economy or a non-digital economy. The levels of knowledge, the people who are on the digital platform, and the levels of knowledge for the people who are not in the digital platform is far behind. So accordingly, the government looked at the digital literacy, and accordingly they brought in the Digital India campaign. And apart from that, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, all this they enabled before they brought in the Startup India, Stand Up India policy. Before even the Prime Minister came out with the policy in the January 16, 2016, he went to Silicon Valley. He had a brainstorming session with the NASSCOM and TIE people there in Silicon Valley, and he brought out this policy on January 16, 2016. Why he brought this policy? This policy, if you look at when the government was formed, they were very, very clear that they wanted the youth to be a job providers and not a job seeker. And if this 60% of the youth population need to be productive, they need to be empowered. There are two ways of empowering. One, the empowerment for employment. Two, the empowerment for entrepreneurship. The best thing that can happen to a country is empowerment of entrepreneurship, and accordingly, our Prime Minister came out with the Startup India, Stand Up India policy. Few statistics. Don't try to understand it, just understand what I'm explaining. The future of the world is going to be BRICS. That is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And if you look at, India clearly stands out in the GDP growth. The GDP of India is today 7.5%, as against other nations which are almost negative or meager. What it clearly shows, I'm not saying this, the International Monetary Fund in the month of March 2016, they came out with a report saying that India is the fastest growing economy and it's clearly in the bright spot. And if you look at other countries or aging population or stagnated population, India is a youth population. Accordingly, there can be a lot of empowerment that can be done, and this government is doing the same thing. As I said to you, India is also going to take off China in the population. Today we have about 130 crore population. It's going to reach to 146 crores population. It will be overtaking China. And also, there is going to be a huge labor force that is going to be a surplus. So by empowering Indians, what is going to happen is they are not only going to be productive for the country, they can also become a human resource for the other countries as well. So India can become a global HR hub for the other countries as well. So that's when the Prime Minister said there is a millions of ideas, thousands of creative minds under one roof, and a leader makes you a part of the process, and that is how the birth of the Startup India, Stand Up India came in. The new thing in the present scenario is, always there was an entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is not a new thing to India. The revolution of entrepreneurship, the startup has already been there. We have successful entrepreneurs here. We have Kumarvel sir, we have Asper K. Swaminathan, and we have BG Venkatesh. They're all successful entrepreneurs. They have become successful even before the policy came in. But however, the government recognizing, the Prime Minister talking about startup policy, it is the first time happening in India. And accordingly, to understand this policy, what is that the Prime Minister is looking at? Is he looking at creating $1 billion business in a day? Or what is he targeting? Whom is he targeting? By bringing startup policy, he is targeting the youth of the country. And he says, he was explaining in the NASSCOM and TIE meeting in Silicon Valley, he said that there's a particular person sleeping on the bed, he's a student, and if that student, when there is a strong wind blowing from the window, the student can either close the window and sleep, or the same student can think about putting a wind energy company there. So what is the Prime Minister trying to bring in here is the new thought process. The thought process for the new journey, the thought process for empowering the youth, that's what the Prime Minister is looking at it. To understand this policy, there's all these speakers who have been in ICT, ACT in the previous sessions, and one such speaker was our Sendil. If you look at what business Sendil is doing, he runs an enterprise called Kovai Pazhamudir Nilayam. Many of them might know it. This enterprise was started by his father. His father was doing a hard jobs in some mill, and he started this company. And today, the Kovai Pazhamudir Nilayam is about 220 crore enterprise with 40 shops. What made them to achieve this turnover? What gave them the success? The success did not come by selling the fruits. That's a different issue altogether. That's a product they're selling. But success came because there was an alteration in the process in which they are doing business. What happens in India is, most of the product what we should buy in the shop, we buy in the street. And whatever the products we should buy in the street, we buy in the shop. One such product is fruit. For example, somebody is not well, we'll buy the fruit in a street and which is unhygienic and then give them, further they'll get a disease. So, looking at this model, they identified a problem and they came out with a retail format shop for fruits and vegetables. Today, believe me, this fruits and vegetables business has become an international business. And they're able to source fruits and vegetables from different countries, bring to India, and also provide this Indian fruits and vegetables to other countries. So this is an entrepreneurship. And believe me, every entrepreneur, when he comes out with an idea, he is not coming out with the idea for making money. That is a byproduct of his success. But every entrepreneur, when he comes out with an idea, he comes out for the purpose of bringing difference in the society. And that's how all the entrepreneurs actually emerge. Next of the example is Yashraj Kaitan. He's hardly 22 years old. Yashraj Kaitan graduated from the University of California from Berkeley. If you graduate from the University of California, Berkeley, one thing is expected. You should never return back to India. This graduate, without taking up a job in US, he came back to India. Even if he come back to India, one expectation is he should work either in Chennai, Bangalore, Bombay, or Delhi. So he went on to establish a company in a remote place in Rajasthan. In the place where there was no power. In the place where people will not pay money. That was the perception. Even he was saying in a story, even his parents were not allowing him to establish company. But however, he went against those hearts, established a company. What is the result of that? Today, in that village, they are paying the electricity bill in the prepaid model. But what we are doing, most of them will pay the electricity bill maybe in the 15th, the last day of the due. But here is a story where he went on to electrify a village where there was no power. Now what did he do? By electrifying that, by giving power to that village, he is able to touch the livelihood of the people there. Today a lot of students are studying properly, they are getting educated, their lifestyle is going up. So that's what I mean to say, entrepreneur makes a difference in the society and the byproduct is the money what they get. That's not the beginning, that's the end result of their efforts, relentless efforts. One more example. a great inspiration for the youth here. This man's name is Mr. Srikanth Bola. Srikanth Bola is a visually challenged person. This man was considered to be a burden for the family. Many said you disown him when he was born, many of his relatives, but their parents did not do that. And this man went on to complete his 10th standard with 96% with all arts from the state of Andhra Pradesh. And subsequently, he applied for 11th and 12th standard, and none of the schools offered him science group. By fighting out in the court, he got the order to study science, and then the court ordered saying that it is a risk you are taking for reading. The order read like that, and that risk he took. And even in the +1, +2 higher secondary examination, he scored more than 90%. That is not the success what I'm talking about. This man applied for the IIT and BITS Bilani examination, but he got a reply saying that he is not eligible for appearing for the examination because he is visually challenged. His dream did not stop there, friends. He went on to apply to the USA, to various universities. He applied to Berkeley University, he applied to Manchester Institute of Technology, he even applied to Stanford, but he got a call from the Manchester Institute of Technology. He went on to graduate from the Manchester Institute of Technology with full scholarship. He was the first visually challenged person to be graduated from the Manchester Institute of Technology. And this is not a success I'm talking about for which he requires applause. There is furthermore to that. If I was in his position, I would have stayed in US. Because there are two reasons again. There is a very good lifestyle. Two, government takes care there when you are old by providing social security schemes. Look at here, you may not have that here. But still, this man did not take up any job there, even though he was secured a job there. But he went on to leave that job. He returned back to Hyderabad. In a remote place, he established a business called Boland Industry, a packaging solutions company. And today, Srikanth Bola won the prestigious Confederation of Indian Industries Emerging Entrepreneurship Award in the hands of Managing Director of MRF. And in that meeting, he showcased, here is a man, he is an entrepreneur, a disabled person, a visually challenged person, providing employment for the abled person. This is entrepreneurship, and he requires an applause here. And today, about 200 people are working under him, including women and the disabled person, and he is an icon for the entrepreneurs. Today, Ratan Tata, today, all the top investors are following up to invest in him. And his journey is going to be highly successful. That is what our APJ Abdul Kalam also has told him personally. Many of the controversial issues they ask, whether spiritual organization should run a commercial venture. If a spiritual organization can take care of the mental health of the people, they are also responsible to take care of. They are responsible and they can take care of the physical health of the people. And for information, all the spiritual organization, when they come out with a product, it is a product of Make in India. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that. It is a product of Make in India. If we don't promote it, who else can promote it? So be it any spiritual organization, it needs to be promoted. And today, if you look at Patanjali, it is a 10,000 crore expected turnover in the next few years. And definitely, it's a great challenge for the multinational companies, and this is also an entrepreneurship, and we also should encourage all these things. Mr. Velumani. Mr. Velumani runs a company called Thyrocare. Mr. Velumani was working in a government department, and he did not start up when he was 20, but his thought process came when he was working in a company, in the government department. He was having a lunch. After a lunch, he looked into the window. There was a huge crowd of people waiting to attend to a doctor. That is when he felt, why should people wait to attend to a doctor? Instead, what they should do is, they should go to the diagnostic center, first detect what is a disease, and then come back to the doctor. That's how the Western world works. But what happens in India, even when we get a cold, we expect the doctor to give a medicine. There is no medicine for the cold. And if the doctor doesn't give a medicine, he's a bad doctor. And Velumani Ayya started this company. With this thought process, he left the job and went on to inform his wife only in the late evening. And that's why he said, entrepreneurs doesn't generally discuss, they decide. And he decided to start this company, Thyrocare. And today, in most of the radio channels you would have heard, think thyroid, think Thyrocare. That is his company. And this is about 1,390 crore company today. And believe me, it starts with one idea. Even in this case, the idea did not strike for profit, if you note this, friend. The idea struck because he was looking at the problem in the society. The problem that he identified was a pressing problem of the people. Even educated went to the doctor even without diagnosing themselves. If they have diagnosed, then they would have gone to the doctor with a proper report. It is also easy for the doctors to detect your disease. So looking at this, he came out with this model and he went on to specialize in thyroid. That's an outstanding company today. We have one more inspiration for women entrepreneurs, Ms. Hemlata Annamalai. Ms. Hemlata Annamalai started this company called Ampere Vehicles. And if you're thinking getting a funding is a very difficult task, we need to approach Hemlata Annamalai ma'am to know how she got the funding. Purely by her capability. She wrote a mail to Ratan Tata describing what is the market for battery-operated scooter. And she went on to explain how the market of India is going to boom in the battery-operated scooter. And she has put in the subject, in the battery-operated scooter segment, if China can do well, why not India? That was a subject line. And for information, it was said that Ratan Tata receives about 10,000 mails in a day. How did her mail stand out from the 10,000 mail? It is because of purely the passion towards bringing a difference in the society. Ms. Hemlata Annamalai ma'am is a well-accomplished graduate. She was in Singapore. There was no need for her to come to India. But she came to India and chose Kannan Palayam in Coimbatore for establishing the company because she wanted to really empower the woman and to bring a difference and make sure that she contributes to society. That's how this idea started. I recently visited her company. And when I visited a company, I noted one important thing, which I want to tell you here. There was no AC also in her company. She got a funding. She runs a big company today. She has secured the battery-operated scooters are provided for the panchayats for cleaning the roads. But in her cabin, there is no AC also. She sits even in the hot summer, she sits under a fan. You know why? Even in that facility, she doesn't want to waste the investors' money. And that is a consciousness every entrepreneur has. And she's a real inspiration for all the women entrepreneurs. And she also requires an applause from you people. Next of the example is Mr. Arunachala Muruganandam. Mr. Arunachala Muruganandam is a person who did not complete his 9th standard, but today he has won the Padma Shri Award from the Government of India, one of the highest civilian awards. And two, in 2014, as per the Times magazine, he is selected as the 100 most powerful person in the world. And he's an Indian who has appeared in that, and it requires an applause. What did he do to appear? What did he do to get that award from the Government of India? He brought a difference in the society. What is the difference? He identified a problem that in rural India, the women are not using hygienic methods of sanitary napkins. And this man is called Napkin Muruga. His name is Arunachala Muruganandam. People call him Napkin Muruga. Today we are looking at sending rockets to Mars. We are looking at real estate projections in moon. That's how the jokes come. But look at someone who is able to identify the problem around him in his own village. And this man is not educated, but he had his wisdom to identify the problem. And when he started this enterprise, let's not forget, he did not start this enterprise to make billions and millions of rupees. He started this enterprise because he wanted to provide solution to the rural woman. And accordingly, the rewards and awards what he got today is a byproduct. And he requires a huge round of applause for his innovation. Roma Roca. She's really an inspiration for many people here. I'll tell you why. Today, we look at ourselves. Today, we look at our own lives. But there are people who look at others' life also. Her heart went for the deaf people. She said, deaf people are definitely productive employees. And that's how, even though she's not deaf, she went on to learn the sign language from one of the premium institute of deaf, and she learned the sign language. She started interacting with the deaf people, and today she has trained hundreds of deaf people and employed them in the companies, in various companies from Delhi. Now, and when she went on to get the feedback from the companies where these deaf people are working, you know what feedback she got? The deaf people are working with much more productivity than a normal human being because there is no gossip involved among them. Even if they gossip, so people will come to know what they're talking, or rather she will know what she's doing. So looking at this, her heart went for the deaf people, and today she has created employment and empowered the deaf people. Again, she requires a huge round of applause. Her name is Roma Roca. And Matthews, his heart went for mosquito. So heart can go for anything, but his heart went for a mosquito. Don't think that mosquito is a small thing. If you have a mosquito in your room, you will know what is the life in the night. You can't sleep. And what is the difference he brought in? He brought in a mosquito repellent which is non-poisonous, and he has used some forest nature related thing which is not poisonous for the human being also. What happens today when you actually burn these mosquito coils or use this mosquito repellents, whether it is poisonous for the mosquito or not, it is a poisonous for the human beings. So he went on to innovate a mosquito equipment, capturing equipment, where mosquito also will not die, you also not suffer. And it also acts as a nature's flares are there and flavors are there, and it is used as a room freshener also in the night. And accordingly, many companies approached him to tell him, don't release this product. He said, nothing doing. I might release this product for free, but I will not sell this product to you. And he requires an applause. His name is Matthews from Kottayam. These are all the projects. These are all the projects the Prime Minister is looking at. Definitely these projects will take off because there are two reasons. Because the pressing problem of the society. If you are able to identify as a student the pressing problem of the society, then you are cut out to be an entrepreneur. All the entrepreneurs sitting here, each and every person here has identified a problem and they worked on it. That's how they are successful today. And I request all the student community here to think about the problem that's happening. Today, what's happening with the education is, we read a book and we write an examination. We feel privileged to get a certificate in the convocation. Definitely, it is worth getting it. But what is happening is, we are becoming in the box. We are taking in the box approach. We need to think out of the box. Think out of the box. Think out of the box. The problems existing around your community. Commit yourself to the communities where you are working across and ensure that you identify a problem. And when you identify a problem, automatically the entrepreneurship spirit comes into you and you will be able to become one of the best entrepreneur in the country and the world also subsequently. Today, if you look at India has about 10,000 startups. In USA, there are about 83,000 startups. But if you compare USA has only 1,000 institutions, but engineering colleges or technology colleges, technology institutions. But whereas in India, we have about only 10,000 startups and there are about 10,000 engineering colleges approved by AICTE. Now, if you look at the startups, if you exclude the people who did not complete technology education and look at who did not complete engineering and started up, it is even more lesser. Looking at this is not an encouraging scenario. Today, instead of looking what the college can bring you as a placement, you look at becoming one of the best entrepreneur or the outstanding entrepreneur and look at coming back to your own college and employing your own juniors in your own company. So, is the exercise of the Prime Minister is to make all the people here to become an entrepreneur? No. The exercise, the policy of the Prime Minister is to look at who is capable of becoming an entrepreneur. That's where the scheme is structured in such a way that the identification process happens and they are able to identify the entrepreneur. The startup phase. The startup phase is nothing the pre-startup phase, and two, startup phase and the growth phase. Many students, many academicians ask me, when does the pre-startup stage happen? The pre-startup stage doesn't happen when you sit in a AC room or when you get graduated from the engineering college or when you get graduated from a arts and science college, or it doesn't happen in a day. It might happen at any point of time. In fact, a child is an entrepreneur. What has happened is, by ensuring that we actually put down the child by questioning the status quo, we have actually killed the entrepreneurship that was existing in the child. Who was responsible? The parents were responsible. When the child came and asked, Amma, Appa, why the steering is in a round shape? Why can't it be in a square? The parents did not have an answer. They said, Gamanakada, please shut up. They did not encourage the child to question the status quo. That's what our Honorable Minister for HRD, Javatkar, says. Allow the child to question the status quo. That is the spark of entrepreneurship. And that's the reason in the startup policy, the Prime Minister has come out with the Atal Innovation Fund by allocating huge fund for promoting innovation in the school. In the first phase, he is targeting to promote in 350 schools. And the child who wins the innovation award, along with their parents, can go and get the award in the Rashtrapati Bhavan, along with the parents. You know why? The child winning the innovation award is because of the parents did not put the child down when she started questioning or he or she started questioning. That's the reason he or she can go and get the award in the Rashtrapati Bhavan. So, a lot of successful stories: Flipkart, Snapdeal, Paytm, Ola, Oyo, Naturals, Asper K. Swaminathan's venture and other business people's venture. Everything is successful because there was a continuous relentless effort by the entrepreneur, and of course they were able to identify the difference which can be brought in the business also. So what is required for a startup ecosystem? What the colleges should do? The colleges should encourage the idea generation. 2, there should be a validation process. That's where our Prime Minister says, the colleges, he has approved the colleges where there is a PG program to have an incubation center. If you have an incubation center, then you can get the ideas and make the students to sit with them, understand and nurture that idea and approve that idea, and further they can go to the interministerial board and get the approval and get into the startup policy. And product development happens after the pilot projects, and this can all be done in the college itself, because the student is not really expected to become an entrepreneur after he leaves the college. He can become an entrepreneur while he is in the college itself. All the facility can be provided by the college. And you have financing and scaling up and business model optimization and also return to investor. These are all need to be provided to the entrepreneurs. And we were speaking about the Startup India. And if you look at all the examples what I gave, all these entrepreneurs brought in a new idea, new process, new service in all there. For example, Kovai Pazhamudra Nilayam, they brought in a new process. It's a process innovation. If you look at Matthews from Kottayam, it's a product innovation. If you look at Roma Roca, it is a service innovation. And social entrepreneurship is also covered under Startup India. And what is Stand Up India? Stand Up India is brought in by the Prime Minister for the purpose of providing the entrepreneurship impetus to the Dalit entrepreneurs and women entrepreneurs. The special features of this is, there is a loan between 10 lakhs and 100 lakhs, includes your working capital, and debit card for drawal of working capital, credit history of borrower to be developed, and they also will provide training to how to get the funding, and the creation of a capital of about 5,000 crore for credit guarantee through NCGTC. All these are brought in under the Stand Up India. It is primarily to encourage the Dalit entrepreneurs and women entrepreneurs, and that is Stand Up India. Let me show you a video. Look at this video. While you watch this video, post this video, I'll explain how each and every individual here can make a difference from this problems that is existing in the society. These are all the 17 problems existing around the world. I did not say this. This was the agenda of the United Nations that is called Sustainable Development Goals, which came in the month of September 2015. Believe me, when you become an entrepreneur, you actually address these 17 problems in the society. And if you're going to ask me whether the 17 problems are there in the country, answer is yes. Because India's population today, out of the global population, is 1/6 of the population. All the problems what is said out here is completely there. And while you look at the problem, look at what solutions you can provide from your forte of area, and look at how you can bring solution to our great country. And the future lies in your hands, in my hands, and it is our responsibility to collectively work towards the agenda of lifting the lifestyle of the people and ensuring we foster employment by bringing in the impetus for entrepreneurship. And finally, it was said by Dhirubhai Ambani, if you don't build your dream, someone else will hire you to help them build theirs. Sure, if the dream of entrepreneurship is not sparked in the college, if it is not sparked by the parents, then they tend to work for someone and tend to help others to build their dreams. So it is our responsibility, the faculties, the parents, and also the students, to think about it twice. Think about your dream, develop the passion for entrepreneurship. Develop the passion to serve the society, and accordingly bring out solution to address the 17 problems which I showed you, and accordingly you will be one of the outstanding entrepreneur. I look forward to see you all in the future in the ICT ACT receiving the best and emerging entrepreneur and outstanding entrepreneur award from the juries and from the ICT CEO also. I thank the ICT ACT Academy, Mr. CEO, Mr. Sathya Kumar sir, and Anbu Thambi sir, and Suresh Babu sir, and Amarnath sir and all the team members, most of the team members, I don't know the names, all the team members who are putting this relentless efforts of taking all this initiative to the students and ensuring that they are empowered. And sure, this will take it will bring a lot of success stories in our country. Thank you so much.